Listen, I'm about to tell you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Actually, scratch that. It's going to make you angry, but I don't care about your feelings. I care about your bank account. And right now, your bank account is screaming for help. You're broke. Still broke. And you know what the worst part is? You're going to be broke next year too. And the year after that. Not because you're stupid, not because you're unlucky, but because you're making the same 5 catastrophic money mistakes over and over again, and nobody has the guts to tell you the truth. Until now. I've spent 20 years studying wealth, building it, losing it, building it again, and I've discovered something that changed everything for me. There's a pattern, a clear, undeniable pattern that separates people who build wealth from people who stay broke their entire lives. And before you roll your eyes and think, here we go, another rich person lecturing me, let me stop you right there. This isn't a lecture, this is an intervention. Because if you don't fix these 5 things today, right now, you're going to wake up at 65 years old with nothing. And I mean nothing, so here's the deal. If you're actually serious about changing your financial future, if you're done making excuses, if you're ready to hear the truth even when it hurts, then subscribe to this channel right now. We're building a community here of people who understand that comfort is expensive and discipline is free. Which one are you choosing? Let's get into it. Mistake 1, you're financing your own poverty. The first thing that's destroying your financial future is debt, but not just any debt. I'm talking about consumer debt, credit cards, personal loans, buy now, pay later, payment plans for things you don't need. You're literally paying companies for the privilege of staying broke. Let me explain something that nobody taught you in school. When you carry a balance on a credit card at 22% interest, you're not borrowing money. You're setting your money on fire and then paying someone to watch it burn. Here's the math that should terrify you. Let's say you have $5,000 in credit card debt. You're making minimum payments. Sounds responsible, right? Wrong. At minimum payments with 22% interest, it will take you 15 years to pay that off. 15 years. And you'll pay over $7,000 in interest alone. That's $7,000 that could have been invested. That's $7,000 that could have been earning you money instead of costing you money. But instead, you handed it to a credit card company as a thank you gift for keeping you poor. And here's what kills me. People tell me they need credit cards for emergencies. No, you don't. You know what you need for emergencies? An emergency fund. You need savings, but you can't save because you're too busy paying interest on the shoes you bought 6 months ago. But it gets worse. You're not just paying interest. You're training your brain to think in payments instead of prices. Can I afford the payment? That's the question keeping you broke. Rich people ask, can I afford the price? There's a massive difference. When you think in payments, you can afford anything. A $60,000 car, sure, it's only $800 a month. A $3,000 couch, no problem, 5 easy payments. A $1,200 phone, just $50 a month for 24 months. You've convinced yourself you're being financially responsible because you can make the payment. But you're not being responsible. You're being manipulated. Companies have figured out that if they break a big number into small numbers, you'll buy things you can't afford, and you fall for it every single time. Here's what you need to do right now, today. Pull out every credit card statement, add up all your monthly payments, car payments, credit card minimum payments, furniture payments, phone payments, everything. Add it all up. That number, that's your freedom number. That's how much money you're giving away every single month to stay trapped in the payment cycle. Now imagine what your life would look like if you kept that money, if you invested that money, if you used that money to build wealth instead of paying for things you bought in the past. That's the difference between rich and poor. Poor people pay interest. Rich people earn interest. Which side are you on? I can already hear the excuses. But I need my credit score. But I get rewards points. But I need to build credit. Stop it. Just stop. You don't need a credit score if you have money. You don't need rewards points if you're paying 22% interest to get 2% back. That's not rewards. That's math that doesn't work. And you don't build credit by staying in debt. You build credit by showing you don't need it. Here's what wealthy people do. We use credit cards like debit cards. We pay them off completely every single month. We never, ever carry a balance because we understand that the interest we'd pay is worth more than any rewards program on earth. So here's your action step. Stop using credit cards for things you can't pay off immediately. Cut them up if you have to. I don't care if that sounds extreme. You know what else is extreme? Working until you're 75 because you couldn't stop swiping a piece of plastic. Get out of consumer debt. Not next year. Not when you get a raise. Now. Sell things. Work extra hours. Cut every expense you can. Attack that debt like your future depends on it. Because it does. Mistake. 2. You're addicted to convenient poverty. The second thing keeping you broke is convenience. You're outsourcing your life and it's costing you everything. Food delivery, grocery delivery, laundry service, house cleaning, lawn care, car washes, oil changes, everything. You've decided that your time is too valuable to do basic tasks, so you pay other people to do them. But here's the problem. Your time isn't that valuable yet, not financially. And until it is, every dollar you spend on convenience is a dollar you can't invest in making your time actually valuable. Let me break this down with real numbers because numbers don't lie. Food delivery. You order dinner 3 times a week. Average order $35 plus $5 delivery fee plus $7 tip plus a $3 service fee. That's $50 per order. 3 times a week, that's $150 a week, $600 a month, $7,200 a year. Do you know what $7,200 invested every year for 20 years becomes at 10% returns? $412,000. You're trading almost $500,000 for the convenience of not cooking. But it's not just food delivery, it's the car wash instead of washing it yourself. $20 twice a month. The lawn service instead of mowing your own lawn. $60 a week. The house cleaner instead of cleaning your own house. $120 twice a month. Add it all up. You're spending thousands every single month on convenience. And for what? So you can sit on your couch and scroll through your phone? Here's what nobody tells you about convenience. It's not convenient, it's expensive. And expensive is the opposite of wealthy. I'm not saying you should never pay for convenience. I'm saying you can't afford to pay for convenience until you've built wealth first. You want a house cleaner? Great. Build $1 million net worth first. Then hire all the help you want. But until then, clean your own house. You want food delivered? Sure. After you've maxed out your retirement accounts and built a 6-month emergency fund. Until then, cook your own food. This is the discipline that separates wealthy people from broke people. Wealthy people delay gratification. Broke people demand instant gratification, and instant gratification costs money you don't have. Now, I can hear some of you saying, but my time is worth money. I could be working instead of cooking. Really? Then why aren't you working? Most people who say their time is valuable spend hours every night watching Netflix. Your time isn't worth $50 an hour. If you're spending that hour binge watching a show you'll forget about next week. Here's the truth. Until you're making at least $150,000 a year and investing at least 20% of it, you can't afford convenient services. Period. Your job isn't to outsource. Your job is to build wealth. And building wealth requires sacrifice. So here's what you're going to do. Cancel the subscriptions. Stop ordering delivery. Start cooking. Start cleaning. Start doing the basic tasks that your grandparents did without complaining. They weren't miserable. They were building wealth. And you can too. Mistake 3. You're making corporations rich while you stay poor. The third mistake is subscription creep. And this one is silent. Deadly. You don't even notice it happening until you actually look at your bank statement and realize you're hemorrhaging money to companies you forgot you were paying. Streaming services, music services, cloud storage, fitness apps, meditation apps, productivity apps, food subscription boxes, wine clubs, coffee subscriptions, razor subscriptions, sock subscriptions. There's a subscription for everything now, and you're signed up for most of them. Let me guess, you have Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus and HBO Max and Amazon Prime. That's already $75 a month right there. Then you've got Spotify Premium, Apple iCloud Storage, maybe a VPN, a password manager, the New York Times, a Patreon or two, YouTube Premium. Add it all up, you're probably spending $200 to $300 a month on subscriptions. That's $3,600 a year over 30 years invested at 10%. That's over $650,000. You're giving away retirement money for the privilege of watching shows you don't have time to watch and listening to music you could get for free. And here's the sick part. These companies know exactly what they're doing. They're counting on you forgetting about the subscription. They're counting on you being too lazy to cancel. They're counting on that $9.99 a month being small enough that you don't notice it. But you should notice it because $9.99 a month is $120 a year. And $120 a year invested for 30 years is $22,000. You're paying $22,000 for a service you use twice a month. How is that smart? It's not. And you need to stop doing it. Here's your homework right now. Pull up your bank account. Look at every recurring charge for the last 3 months, every single one. Write them all down. Then ask yourself one question for each one. Am I getting more value from this than I would from having that money invested? Be honest. That gym membership you haven't used in 4 months, cancel it. The streaming service you only watch one show on, cancel it and resubscribe when the next season comes out. The subscription box sending you snacks you don't need, cancel it. Every subscription you cancel is money you can invest, money that can grow, money that can compound, money that can give you actual freedom instead of the illusion of convenience. But here's what's really going on. Subscriptions aren't just about the money. They're about identity. You subscribe to things because you want to be the kind of person who has that thing. You want to be a meditator, so you pay for headspace. You want to be fit, so you pay for a gym membership. You want to be cultured, so you pay for the Times. But paying for something doesn't make you that person. Using it makes you that person. And you're not using it. You're just paying for the idea of being that person. And ideas don't build wealth. Actions do. So cancel the subscriptions. All of them, except the ones you use every single day. If you can't remember the last time you used it, you don't need it. Mistake 4. You're upgrading yourself into poverty. The fourth mistake is lifestyle inflation, and this is the one that gets everyone, even people who should know better. Here's how it works. You get a raise. Finally, you've been grinding, working hard, and your salary goes from $50,000 to $60,000. That's an extra $10,000 a year. You're excited. You deserve this. So what do? You upgrade your life, new apartment, nicer car, better clothes, fancier restaurants. You've earned it, right? Wrong. What you've actually done is locked yourself into the same broke lifestyle at a higher price point. You're making more money, but you're not building more wealth. You're just spending more money. This is the trap that keeps even high earners broke. I've seen people making $200,000 a year with nothing in the bank. How? Because every time they made more money, they spent more money. Here's what you need to understand. Your lifestyle should not grow with your income. Your savings should grow with your income. Your investments should grow with your income. Your lifestyle should stay exactly where it is until you're wealthy. Let me say that again because it's critical. Your lifestyle should not change when you get a raise. Your savings rate should change. You get a $10,000 raise, that entire $10,000 should go straight into investments. Not a new car, not a bigger apartment, investments. Because that $10,000 invested every year for 20 years becomes $630,000. But if you spend it on a nicer lifestyle, it becomes zero. This is the secret that wealthy people understand and broke people don't. Wealthy people live like they're broke until they're rich. Broke people live like they're rich until they're broke. You know what car I drove when I was making my first million? A 10-year-old Honda with 150,000 miles on it. You know what apartment I lived in? A 1-bedroom in a mediocre neighborhood. You know why? Because I understood that every dollar I spent on looking rich was a dollar I couldn't use to become rich. And here's the thing. Once you actually become wealthy, you realize you don't need the fancy lifestyle anyway. You've already trained yourself to live on less. You're already happy without the status symbols, so you just keep building wealth. But if you inflate your lifestyle every time you make more money, you never get there. You're always one paycheck away from broke. You're always stressed. You're always working because you've built a life that requires a constant stream of income to maintain. That's not freedom, that's a trap, and you're walking right into it. So here's what you do instead. The next raise you get, pretend you didn't get it. Keep living on your current income. Take that extra money and invest it immediately. Automate it so you never even see it, because if you see it, you'll spend it. Mistake 5, you don't understand the only number that matters. The fifth and final mistake is the most important one. You're focused on the wrong number. You think the number that matters is your salary, your income, how much you make, but that's not the number that determines whether you're rich or poor. The only number that matters is your net worth. That's it. That's the only scoreboard that counts. Your net worth is everything you own minus everything you owe. Assets minus liabilities. That's the number that determines your financial future. Not your salary, not your job title, not the car you drive or the house you live in, your net worth. And here's what most people don't understand. You can have a high income and a low net worth. I know doctors making $400,000 a year with negative net worth. They're broke. They just look rich. And you can have a low income and a high net worth. I know teachers making $45,000 a year who are millionaires because they understand that it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So let me ask you a question. What's your net worth right now? Do you even know? If you don't know your net worth, you're flying blind. You have no idea if you're winning or losing. You're just hoping things work out. And hope is not a financial strategy. Here's what you need to do. Calculate your net worth today. Add up everything you own that has value, your savings, your investments, your retirement accounts, your car, your house if you own one, everything. Then subtract everything you owe. Credit card debt, student loans, car loans, mortgage, personal loans, everything. That number is your net worth. And if that number is negative, you're broke. I don't care how much you make. If you owe more than you own, you're broke. But here's the good news. Once you know the number, you can change it. You can track it, you can watch it grow, and watching your net worth grow is more addictive than watching your bank account grow because it's the number that actually matters. Your goal isn't to make more money, your goal is to increase your net worth, and sometimes those things are the same, but often they're not because you can increase your income and still decrease your net worth if you're spending too much. So here's your target. You want your net worth to be at least 1 times your annual income by age 30, 3 times by age 40, 6 times by age 50, 10 times by age 60. If you're not hitting those targets, you're behind. And you need to change something, not next month, now. The truth you need to hear. Let me bring this all together for you because this is important. You're not broke because of bad luck. You're not broke because the system is rigged. You're not broke because you don't make enough money. You're broke because you're financing your poverty. You're broke because you're addicted to convenience. You're broke because you're subscribed to staying broke. You're broke because you inflate your lifestyle instead of your net worth. And you're broke because you don't track the only number that actually matters. These 5 mistakes are costing you millions of dollars over your lifetime. Millions, not thousands, millions. And the worst part? You know all of this already. Deep down, you know you're making these mistakes. But knowing isn't enough. Action is what changes your life. So here's what happens next. You can close this video and go back to your life. Keep making the same mistakes. Keep staying broke. Keep telling yourself you'll fix it later. And in 20 years, you'll be exactly where you are now, except older and more regretful. Or you can decide right now that enough is enough. You can attack your debt. You can cut convenience spending. You can cancel subscriptions. You can keep your lifestyle flat while your income grows. And you can start tracking your net worth like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your financial future isn't determined by your circumstances. It's determined by your choices. And every single day you're choosing comfort or wealth, instant gratification or long-term freedom, looking rich or being rich. You can't have both. So which one are you choosing? If you're choosing wealth, if you're choosing freedom, if you're choosing to actually change your life, then I need you to do three things right now. First, smash that like button. Tell the algorithm that this message matters, because the more people who hear this truth, the more people who can change their lives. Second, leave a comment below and tell me which of these 5 mistakes hit you the hardest. Be honest. This is a judgment-free zone. We're all learning here. And third, subscribe to this channel and become a member. When you become a member, you're not just supporting a channel. You're investing in your own financial education. You're joining a community of people who are done making excuses and ready to build real wealth. Money doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about your past. It only cares about what you do next. So what are you going to do next? Are you going to make excuses, or are you going to make millions? The choice is yours. Now get out there and build something.